Yeah.
Both money and happiness are goals that we are always striving to be, and they're a way that we measure ourselves throughout our lives. They're both achievable, but at the same time, we always wonder, does more money actually make us happier as a person and happier throughout our lives? In my belief, I think that it does make us happier to a certain extent. And money doesn't actually buy us happiness, like the old saying goes. But trust me, we've all been in college. We've always been scrounging for that extra quarter in order to buy that extra meal or put some gas in our tank. And we aren't necessarily very happy when that happens. So to me, money can buy happiness to a certain extent. I believe that money is a very important asset. And in today's world, it's becoming more and more of an important asset. We have to constantly buy more food, more clothes, more housing, and it's getting more expensive in today's world. In my belief, money is the most important thing for security and self-reliability, and that's where you really get your happiness from. Having that security and the belief that you can support yourself is really what makes you so much happier and really makes you able to feel like you're doing something with your life that makes you realize that that money is going to something that is important. This leads to an overall life satisfaction and the feeling that you've accomplished something because you know you're out there, you're working, you're doing something that is contributing in a positive way. In 2010, Princeton University actually did a study that said up to $75,000 happiness increased on your overall life satisfaction. And although 85% of Americans were extremely happy already, their happiness increased up to that $75,000 cap. When you made more than that amount of money, your overall life happiness really did not increase, but under $75,000, your happiness decreased and you really weren't as happy as you were stressed and you were constantly thinking of things. For example, let's take a leak in a ceiling. If you're making low income, let's say $20,000, you're not able to actually fix that leak in the ceiling. I mean, it might last you a couple weeks, it might last you a month, and you're sitting there and you're always thinking it because you might have to allocate that money to different resources such as groceries, and you won't actually be able to sit there and say, let's fix this ceiling and it'll work out. Whereas if you had $75,000 or more, based on the Princeton University study, you'd be able to fix that ceiling with no flaws or no reason to be able to allocate that money towards anything else, as it's an extra amount of money that you have and you can already support your life otherwise. This leads to the different types of happiness because there's the short term versus the long term. And like with the ceiling, you can either fix it in the short term within those days and really your overall life happiness in the long term will increase, or you can fix it in a long term and your stress will continually build because you won't know when that will be fixed. Based on a University of Colorado study by Professor Lee Van Boven, he said that there's two different types and it goes hand in hand with the short-term versus long-term study. You can either spend your money on life experiences or you can spend it on material possessions. He found that life experiences really makes you more happy and it's correlated with greater happiness because those life experiences you can look back on and you'll always remember them. And even if you had a bad life experience, you can look back and people have hindsight and they'll live and they'll learn and they'll realize that, maybe something bad happened, but I'll learn from that and that won't happen again. And they're happy because they've learned from that. Whereas a material possession, it depreciates very quickly. So you may sit there and you might get that brand new car, but as soon as you drive it off that lot, it depreciates in value along with your happiness. It depreciates as well. That's why you take the opportunity. Just like in that life experience, you go out there and you take that experience and you seize the opportunity. And that's the most important thing in life, is being able to take that money and spend it on something that you know will really impact you and you'll be able to expand on for the rest of your life. Money is a very prominent part of Americans' lives, and it's becoming more and more of a necessity today. As things get more expensive, we have to fulfill our wants and our needs. But the most important thing is your security and your self-reliability. If you know that you can go to college and you can always have a meal on hand and you're not really having to sit around and struggle to get through, you will be happier in all. You'll wake up happy and you'll really enjoy it. Without this, your happiness decreases. Without having self-reliability, it decreases. And that's why I believe that money can't really buy you happiness, but it can buy happiness to an extent. But let me ask you, I don't agree with money buys happiness, but have you ever seen somebody frowning on a jet ski?